Imagine a life where money is no longer a source of stress, but a tool to build your dreams. Picture that for a moment. Savor the tranquility of knowing that your bills are paid, there's food on the table, and there's plenty left over for your heart's desires. This is the allure of financial freedom. It's not just about having a lot of money, it's about having the financial stability that allows you to live life on your own terms. But let's rewind a bit. My journey to financial freedom didn't start from this point of peace and abundance. Far from it. There was a time when my life was dominated by financial instability. Every day was a balancing act, juggling bills, avoiding debt collectors, and figuring out how to stretch a meager paycheck to cover basic necessities. The stress was all-consuming, a constant hum in the back of my mind, casting a shadow over even the happiest moments. I was always running, always chasing after the next paycheck, the next quick fix, but never quite catching up. It felt like being stuck in quicksand. The harder I struggled, the deeper I sank. The worry was relentless. It was like a monster under my bed, always lurking, ready to pounce at the slightest hint of vulnerability. This wasn't living. It was merely existing, surviving from one financial crisis to the next. I was a prisoner to my own circumstances, held captive by my financial insecurity. The dreams I had for my life seemed like distant stars, unreachable and fading fast. But amidst this sea of worry and stress, a spark of determination was kindled. I realized that this wasn't how life was meant to be lived. I was tired of being a passenger in my own life, tossed about by the whims of financial instability. I decided it was time for a change. And so, I embarked on a journey towards financial freedom. A journey that would transform not just my financial situation, but my entire life. But that, dear friends, is a story for another day. There comes a moment in every journey when you realize something has to change. For me, that moment was as stark as a winter's dawn, a cold, hard realization that my financial situation was spiraling out of control. But let me take you back a little, to the days when I was blissfully ignorant about the looming storm. I was living paycheck to paycheck, with a mounting pile of credit card bills, student loans, and a mortgage that felt like a millstone around my neck. I was living beyond my means, buying things I didn't need to impress people I didn't even like. The irony is, I was working in finance, advising others on how to manage their wealth while my own finances were in shambles. One day I found myself at a friend's birthday party, surrounded by laughter and cheer. But all I could think about was the credit card bill that was due the next day. I remember the sinking feeling, the dread that was gnawing at me. I was drowning in debt, and the worst part was, I had put myself in that situation. It was a gradual realization, like a fog lifting, revealing the harsh reality. I was a slave to my debts, working tirelessly just to keep my head above water. I had dreams and aspirations, but they seemed so out of reach, buried under a mountain of financial worries. I realized that I'd been living in denial, avoiding my financial reality, and it was time to face it head on. I was in my 30s with no savings, no investments, just a sea of debt. It was a sobering thought that jolted me out of my stupor. I knew I had to make a change. I had to break free from this cycle of debt. I wanted to enjoy life, not just survive it. I wanted to have control over my finances, not the other way around. I wanted to be financially independent, to have the freedom to pursue my dreams. That moment was my wake-up call. It was time to take control of my finances. Every journey starts with a plan, and mine was no different. The first step was to take a good hard look at my financial situation. It was time to face the music. I laid everything out on the table, my income, my expenses, my debts. It was a bit like laying out a puzzle, except this puzzle was my life, and the pieces were my finances. Next, I started to budget. I knew I needed to make some changes. I had to prioritize my spending, cutting back on non-essentials and focusing on paying off my debts. I started cooking at home more, I canceled subscriptions I didn't really need, and I even started taking public transportation instead of using my car. Every penny saved was a penny I could use to repay my debt, but budgeting and cutting expenses were only part of the equation. I also needed to find a way to increase my income. I started to look for opportunities to earn extra money. I took on freelance work, sold items I no longer needed, and even started a small side business. Every extra money I earned went straight towards my debt. And then, of course, there was the most crucial part of my plan, paying off my debt. I started by tackling the debt with the highest interest rate. I made it a point to pay more than the minimum payment each month. Slowly but surely, I began to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Throughout this process, I also made it a point to educate myself about personal finance. I read books, listened to podcasts, and even attended a few seminars. The more I learned, the more confident I became in my ability to turn my financial situation around. This wasn't a quick fix. It was a long-term plan requiring discipline, determination, and a lot of hard work. But I knew it was worth it. I was investing in my future, in my financial freedom. With a solid plan in place, I was ready to embark on my journey towards financial freedom. No journey is without its struggles, and mine was filled with plenty of them. Indeed, the road to financial freedom was far from smooth. There were moments when the mountain of debt seemed insurmountable, the hurdles seemingly too high to leap over. The first few months were the toughest. The plan was set, but the reality of sticking to a tight budget was a harsh awakening. It meant cutting back on luxuries, on social outings, on things I once took for granted. There were days when I questioned whether it was worth it, whether I could really do it. And then there were the unexpected expenses. The car broke down, the boiler needed replacing, the cat fell ill. Each one a setback, each one a blow to the budget I had so carefully crafted. It felt as though for every step forward, I was taking 2 steps back. The goal of financial freedom seemed to be slipping further and further away. Feelings of doubt crept in. The voice in my head grew louder, telling me I'd never get there, that I was destined to live under the shadow of debt forever. It was a constant struggle, a battle against my own fears and insecurities, but I didn't let these obstacles deter me. I reminded myself of why I started this journey in the first place. I reminded myself of the freedom I craved, the peace of mind I yearned for. I reminded myself of the chains of debt I was determined to break free from. The journey was hard, yes, but every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt shaped me. It taught me resilience. It taught me patience. It taught me the value of perseverance, of staying the course even when the road is rocky. It taught me that the path to financial freedom is not a straight line, but a winding road with ups and downs. Despite the struggles, I remained committed to my goal of financial freedom. I held on to that commitment, that determination, because I knew, deep down, that every struggle was a stepping stone, every setback a lesson learned. And with each passing day, I was one step closer to saying goodbye to financial problems forever. Sometimes it's the darkest moments that lead us to the greatest breakthroughs. A phrase we've heard time and again, but it's a different ballgame altogether when you live through it. In my journey to financial freedom, I was in the thick of the struggle, grappling with the weight of my debt and the guilt of my past financial blunders. But then, something shifted. A breakthrough, if you will, which wasn't something monumental or life-altering, but rather a small victory that showed me I was on the right path. It was a Tuesday, a day like any other. The monthly bills had just come in, and as I looked at them, I realized something had changed. For the first time in years, I was no longer apprehensive about the total. I knew I had the means to pay them off and not just barely scrape by. That was it, my breakthrough. As modest as it may seem, this was a significant milestone for me. It was a testament to the fact that my plan was working. The sacrifices, the budgeting, the discipline, they were all paying off. This breakthrough gave me the confidence boost I needed. It was a reminder that even though the road to financial freedom was long and arduous, every step I took was bringing me closer to my goal. It was a sign that I was moving in the right direction, that I was capable of taking control of my financial future. This moment of realization, this breakthrough, wasn't just about the money. It was about so much more. It was about regaining my self-esteem, reclaiming my life, and redefining my future. It was about the freedom that comes from knowing you're no longer a slave to your debts. Most importantly, it was a beacon of hope, a hope that whispered, "You can do this, you can overcome this." And with this newfound hope, I found the strength to continue my journey, to keep pushing, to keep striving for financial freedom. That breakthrough was the sign I needed to keep going. The reward of financial freedom is worth every struggle. Let that sink in for a moment. It's not just a statement, it's a promise, a beacon of hope that kept me going through the toughest of times. As I moved closer to my goal, I began to notice a significant shift. The constant worry that had been my companion for so long started to fade away. It was replaced by a sense of calm, a tranquility that I hadn't experienced in years. The stress that had once knotted my stomach and kept me awake at night began to unravel. And then there was the freedom, not just financial freedom, but personal freedom. The freedom to make choices based on what I wanted, not what my bank account dictated. The freedom to take risks, to invest in myself and my dreams. The freedom to say yes to opportunities that I would have had to pass up before. And oh, the sense of accomplishment. There's nothing quite like it. Every time I looked at my balance, not seeing the red numbers I was so used to, I was filled with a sense of pride. I did this. I set a goal. I worked hard and I achieved it. The benefits of financial freedom are not just monetary. They seep into every aspect of your life. They affect your health, your relationships, your self-esteem. They give you the space to grow, to explore, to truly live. And the best part, it's not a one-time thing. This feeling, this peace of mind, it stays with you. Every time you make a financial decision, every time you look at your bank account, you're reminded of your journey, of your struggles, and of your triumphs. You're reminded that you have the power to shape your own financial future. The reward of financial freedom, it's not just about the money, it's about the journey, the lessons learned, the growth experienced. It's about the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're in control of your financial destiny. The reward was more than just financial stability, it was peace of mind. Financial freedom is not a destination, it's a journey. Each day brings forth new opportunities to strengthen our bond with financial freedom. It's a relationship that requires constant nurturing, and I strive to maintain it with the same fervor that fueled my initial quest. Over the years, my life has seen a remarkable transformation. The specter of debt that once loomed over me, casting a long, dark shadow, has now been replaced by a radiant sun of financial stability. Sleepless nights spent worrying about bills and repayments have given way to peaceful slumbers, undisturbed by the relentless ticking of a financial time bomb. The freedom that comes from being in control of my finances is exhilarating. It's the freedom to make choices, to dream big, and to turn those dreams into reality. It's the freedom to live life on my own terms, unshackled by the chains of debt. But the journey doesn't end here. Like a gardener tending to her plants, I continue to nurture my financial health. I stay informed about the latest financial trends, regularly review my budget, and continue to invest wisely. I prioritize my needs over my wants and never hesitate to make tough decisions when necessary. For those of you embarking on your own journey towards financial freedom, remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Each misstep is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become better. Arm yourself with knowledge, stay disciplined, and keep your eyes on the prize. And most importantly, never lose sight of why you started this journey in the first place. Whether it's to secure a comfortable retirement, provide for your family, or simply to enjoy the peace of mind that comes from being debt-free, let this be your guiding light, your beacon in the stormy seas of financial uncertainty. My journey towards financial freedom continues, and yours can begin today. Financial freedom is not about being rich, it's about being in control. Let's take a moment to reflect on this journey we've embarked on together. We've delved into the allure of financial freedom, the wake-up call that sparked change, the formulation of a solid plan, the struggles encountered along the way, the breakthrough that marked a turning point, and the sweet reward of financial independence. Throughout this quest, we've learned that the road to financial freedom is not always smooth and it's not always easy. There will be challenges, there will be setbacks. But the key is to stay focused, stay disciplined, and never lose sight of the end goal. This journey also taught us that financial freedom is not a privilege reserved for the few. It's an attainable goal for anyone willing to put in the effort, make the sacrifices, and take control of their financial destiny. Say goodbye to financial problems forever, and say hello to a life of possibilities. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, or share this video and subscribe to this channel about personal finance and investing.